dashboard, activity feed, streaming tools. That's what I want. Overlays. So it's connected. It's broke. Oh, there it goes. Now it's working. That's weird. Stupid stream elements. All right, guys. It's happening today. We had a vote in the Discord. We had a vote in the Discord. And I gave you guys the option that we could continue on with our city build in Town to City and just just forget about all the issues that I was feeling about it and just move forward with the new like vision. Or we could evict and destroy everything and start over that way. Or just completely scrap the save altogether and start over anew. And you guys voted to start over anew. Somebody just voted. So scrapping the save and starting over is what we're going to do today. We're going to say goodbye to everything we've done. And we're going to start a brand new game. New game, let's go! Knowing more about the game now that I know, I'm excited to start over because I have some cute ideas for building. And now that I know a little bit more about how the game works, I think I can keep up with some stuff a little better too. So I think it'll be good all around. And it won't take us long to get back to where we were, I feel. For how much I'm addicted to this game, it won't take us long to get back there. So, I'm going to go in here. And we're going to delete this. Campaign 1. 861 citizens. We're going to delete it. Are you guys ready? I don't think you're ready. I'm not ready. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait. That was uneventful. Okay. It's really happening this time. It's really happening this time. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ah! We deleted it! It's gone! I can't believe it! Oh no! This is my off-stream town I've been fiddling with. I think I'm gonna turn off... Let's turn on Twitch integration. We always need Twitch integration. And I want to turn off the tutorial. That one's fine. I'm going to get rid of this. All right, here we go. New game. Poof! Here we go.
Life used to be nice here, but nowadays it's so crowded. Smoggy streets, noisy factories, the smell of sewage on the air. What if you could do it your way? How would you design your perfect place? From bakery to park,
so
to
cute,
cozy home, and everything in between. Let's leave to start a new community. Somewhere green, somewhere nice Others will surely follow when they hear of it. Well, you'll have to roll up your sleeves first, but with a bit of effort and an eye for planning, you'll soon develop this spot of land from countryside to town. And from town to city.
You know what I wish? I wish it was the map was randomized. Like in Minecraft. Like I wish it would just randomize the map every time. Because that would be cool. Alright. So, we're starting over. I'm gonna focus a lot on moving around this way, I think. Yeah, something like that. But first... I want to make sure I leave enough space to make this really cool eventually. Hi, Muda! Have fun playing! And I think I want to do another little area here. This is where we'll put some of our first, like, ow! That wasn't nice. This is where I'll put some of our first, uses, city uses. So rude who did that. It was you and you just did it again, sucker! Who do you think you're fooling? Alright, now I want this one. 2.5, I think, is what I like to use. That's now. Oh no! I don't know why I'm doing it that way. I'm doing it the hard way right now. Like a silly goose. Just use the straight line one. So this time, I really want to take my time. I said to use the straight line! You jerk. Stupid game. Do what I say. I really want to take my time with decorating. Really missed my chance. So did I. Completely. But we will have probably multiple plazas. Alright. So I feel like this will be a good starting point for that. And then... Same with parks and whatnot? Yeah. So I want to start with something like this. And then... I don't know if I want to be organic or if I want to do more like a grid system. Because I want my towns to also feel very different. So I think... Here I kind of think I want to do more of like a grid. And then when we get into Fabrak, we'll do more organic, country looking, you know? Like, that could be fun. I haven't tried really doing a grid system yet. So you do something like this. And then maybe here. Like that. And I'm gonna set the houses back a little, I think. We're gonna send them back a little bit so we can decorate their front yards. So we're gonna have a dirt path, and we'll go like this. And we can't really do too much decorating just yet. Whoa! Something like that. We can't put anything on the houses yet. And then we got some trees. And I'm still gonna do houses like back to back, too. Alright, and then we have some people moving in. Forever, you and me together, nothing is better. Does it feel refreshing? It does. It really does feel refreshing. Alright, so we have our 3 families. Bye, Twain. And we'll do more with this plaza area later, too. We could put some lighting, though. It's kind of dark. Oh, my game jumped. Alright. So now I'll put down some food. We got the cheese stall and the poultry. And then I think we need a warehouse, right? I'm gonna put this warehouse... maybe right here. There we go. And then I want to put this wall around it. Direct spammer. And then we're going to take our terrain paint. Where's the one that looks like stone? I'm going to make it square and hard edges. And then I do this in here. Like that. Get out of here! Yeah, get out of here, sucker. No one likes you. I think I'm going to change this. Like that. Can you evict their little citizen? I don't think I can. Hi, Wambat! We could change their name. What should we name them? Let's put Hubba in here. This would be H4B4. There we go. We'll put Hubba in there instead. We'll just rename them. There, now Hubba has a citizen in the in the village. Alright. I need to fix this. Alright. Alright. That's better. I like that better. I'm gonna take it all the way up to there then. Yeah, I like this better. Except for right here. There we go. Perfect! And then we'll do some little ground painting. Oh, the autumn leaves is cute. I'll do like some sand here. So this is what I'm talking about, like, I really just want to kind of take my time more this time. And have something really cute to look at. We need more houses. Let's do that real quick. I did too, because I was eager just to see everything, you know? And I still haven't made it all the way through the tech tree anywhere. But we'll get there. I wanted money! Money! I do like that money doesn't seem to be a super important thing, you know? Alright, let's go back to our 2.5 width and then our brick road. Yeah. We'll go down to the one size and the dirt. Get rid of draw over existing. What's the matter? Not connected to any shops. I don't understand. They're right there. They're not that far away. Maybe we should put a plaza over here instead. We could do that. Let's put up a fence. Well, actually, let's put down our ground first. I never upgraded all my... I'm not... Yeah, same. I'm never doing that again. I'm not even going to unlock it in the tree. Should I put a plaza over here? Maybe I'll put a plaza over here instead. Oh, it still had the fence selected. That's weird. That was a little glitch. Please catch another. We'll put it here. Yeah, I believe it. And we'll put a fence around it because it's kind of dangerous right there by the railroad tracks. Like that, and then we'll add some lighting. And we'll add some flowers. Okay, and I'll put some trees back here to block some of the... Can I? There we go. To block some of the sound from the train. Like that. Okay. Alright, and then I'm going to move these over here. Like this. Oops. Didn't want to move that. Add a labor there, and now everyone should have access. Okay, good. And I'm gonna go ahead and just use this for now. Maybe. And then you can't really erase the ground paint, you just have to repaint it. Like that. Cool. We're getting somewhere. I can't really decorate this yet. Let's put some benches over here, though. We can put some benches down. And then we need to get the observatory put up. There we go. So that'll work. Oh, we can move these people in now, too. Now that everybody's connected. And then we do some decorating. Alright, cute! Right. Yeah, I actually also kind of hate the road upgrade feature. I wish you just would click road upgrade and it would just upgrade them. Because I hate that every time I paint a new road I have to re-upgrade it and all that. It doesn't... Because of the way the road system works, it feels really clunky and not good, in my opinion. But that's just me. I could be wrong. Alright, we need to get our observatory up somewhere. I really want to put it on top of a hill. This might be too far away. This is where we put it in our other city. Maybe for now, I'll just stick it right here. And then I'll move it later? Or should I just put it where I want it to go now? I think it'd be really cool to stick it up here and then cover this hill with flowers. Wouldn't that be cute? Alright, I'm gonna stick that there for now, and then I'm gonna move these trees. Because they're kind of in my way. This is the hill where you put your mayor house? Nice. Alright, I'm gonna put it here. I think I'm gonna rotate it this way, though. So we could do one of two things. We could have our path curl along this way like this, which might look kind of cool, or we could just go boop, boop, straight down. We'll just go straight down. I'm gonna do a dirt path, a lot smaller than that. Oh no, it's on the straight line. That's alright. I'm just gonna connect it in here like this for now, but we're gonna change it later. put 5 people there for now to get it going. Look at it, it's so cute. No, let's cover this hill in flowers. It'll be gorgeous. Let's put up some fencing though, so it's safer. And I think I'm gonna move these trees. This tree is actually way too big to be up here. Can I put this down here? Oh man. There's gonna be an ad starting in 3 minutes, just so you guys know. The world's smallest violin. I guess I'll do... something like that. Fence. It's violin. I can't move it. I'm supposed to be able to move them, but it doesn't seem to work for me. You played with the fence crane? I haven't at all. I'm kind of afraid of it. Actually, I want to... Let's just start this over. It's really cool. You can change it while building. Oh. Let's see. Maybe we'll play with it right now. After I get rid of this. There we go. Play my violin for you. It's not showing me the hotkeys right now. I can't remember what it is to go into the curve. B and C. Oh. Oh! Wait, that was weird. Oh. Interesting. Wait, that looks a lot nicer. Very interesting. Alright, and then one more on this cliff side. And then we'll start focusing on growing a bit. Alright, let's go to the research menu. I need all of these, actually. And decorate buildings. Awesome. Because now... we can do this. Alright. Alright, we need to build our next little neighborhood. Maybe I'll put a couple houses right here behind this. Why is it? Oh. Why are they all green? What happened? Not sure what happened there, but okay. Alright, let's put in the fruit and veggies. No, it won't fit. I'll make it fit. I just have to move this bush. Alright, now let's see if I can put this in here. It's not reaching over here. Amount of workers. Okay, now it's reaching. Just had to get workers in there. How'd you go to work? No! Don't go! It's a trap! Okay, thank you. I hope your day at work goes by fast, Bo. It's a bunny? I'm a bunny! That's me! Yo! Oh, thank you! I like pets. Thank you so much. I hope you have an awesome day too. That's pretty cute. Alright, what else can we unlock in here now? Trees and bushes. Oh, I should have flowers! Dang it. What game are you playing, my man? It's called Towntocity. It's a cute, cozy, voxel city builder game. It's very cute. And we love cute things. What do they want? A house surrounded by decorations from the nature category. Easy peasy. More trees. Put some here. Around back. These traits influence fantasy happiness. Yes, thank you. We actually just destroyed our city we were working on and started over. So this is a brand new city that we're just starting. The first one was like we were learning how the game works because this is a new game. It's very cozy. I love it. Okay, can I unlock the flowers now? Yes. So next we're gonna unlock the greater reach foods for the food stalls, which will be really helpful. Alright, so now we can put down flowers. Cute. And we can give them like little trees on their patios and stuff. You guys want one too, don't you? Thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the ChiiFett. You belong to me now. You are mine. You cannot escape. You're here forever. Alright, and then we give them a couple little bushes. Why not? Cute! Alright. You can come here. And you can go nowhere. Alright, we'll build another row of houses here. And we can just grab these ones we already decorated. And move them right over here, which is really cool. that. Get our dirt path. Now I'm gonna make it a little smaller. Definitely be coming back. I'm gonna draw it. Have fun drawing. I don't want to draw over existing paths. If ever want anything, just ask. Oh, it's so friendly. Thank you. Alright, let's do the flowers, and we need some lights. Maybe on the corner here. Like that. And then we need some trizz. Time, I'm still into. Alright, I need to draw this path. I gotta fix this. We gotta fix it. I'm still into. Make it a little bigger. Right up against there. But I knew that when I drew this, I was gonna have to change it eventually, so it's okay. Alright, so let's go back in here. We'll get our brick road. Make sure we're square, straight line, and on 2.5. I could probably fit another set of houses back here. I'm gonna move these trees. Fly to you. Let's do that. Excuse me. Let's grab a red one. And we'll grab a white one. Excellent. Here we go. There we go. And then we'll go down to 1. And dirt. Connect these up. And then we gotta go to the round one. Bing, bing, bing. I think I want it to come off here. You love drawing others? That's awesome. Well, typically I don't like to ask for art from people because I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're being taken advantage of. But if you wanted to draw fan art, that's totally okay with me. But I probably would never ask for it, just so you know. Because I don't feel right asking for free art. It doesn't feel right to me. Alright, and then we move some of these trees back over here because this weird little nook right here looks kind of goofy. So I think this would be cute. That's understandable. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people probably feel that way too. Alright, cute. Now we have more space to move some people in. Oh, did we finally get it? Yes. Greater reach. Good, it reaches this house now. Perfect. Excellent. Bang, bang, bang. Right. These guys need some decorations out in front. We need some lighting. It's considered practice usually because they need to work on faces. Oh, I gotcha. Practice is very important. Maybe because... Oh, that's way too big. I just want medium trees. Ooh, so now I think we just have to work on getting our city upgraded. Actually, what if I put a little fence on this side? That would be cute. It's kind of skinny there. I can't really fit trees. I think we need 50 people for our first grade. Are they sad? They don't know. They don't even know why they're sad. That's alright. Ooh. For this side, I kind of want to put houses like right up against this cliff. I'm gonna turn my brush. Like that. One. Dirt. Ooh. Ooh. Alright, and then we need lighting. you guys need lighting? Oh. Need some flowers. Some sunflowers. Why? Oh, because the other flowers are in the way, probably. And you guys can each have a tree. And a bench. Cute. Cute. I want some bushes. Nice. Alright, you want a cliffside home. We can upgrade! Let's do it! We're making our way through! Ooh, I almost dropped my water bottle. Yay, upgrade! Sage 2! Alright, before I move on, I really have to pee. So I'm gonna throw on some ads, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna pause our city. BRB, guys. Alright, I'm back. I am back. Alright, now we'll push play and continue on. Florence wants to talk to us. We're all excited about the potential for our town to grow into a prosperous city.
Oh.
Everything's going swell, though some of the new arrivals are experiencing issues. I suggest building yourself a house first, one with a big mailbox. That way we'll know how to reach you if we ever have any requests for our little town. Alright. So we'll do that. I also want to add more people here. Because I have a lot of people at the moment. Alright, mayor's house. I'm going to put the mayor's house up here on this cliff. I think that would be cool. Accumulated a lot of research points. Oh yeah. Know what's cool about cliffs? I can't say, it's probably bad. Oh. You can go cliff diving? Ooh, let's unlock. We have 300 points. We'll go ahead and we'll unlock second floor housing. Ah, they added this in. Wait, was there an update recently? This is new. I guess they had too many people asking about how to upgrade. That's what I was thinking. Uh-huh. Sure. Let's upgrade these houses. There we go. Alright. I'm gonna put my mayor town up here on this cliff. Oh no, I was on the wrong brush. I want to be on the straight line one. Okay. Should we go across like this? Or should we go to the corner? No, that's too big. I should go like this. Yeah. We need $200 to place the mayor's house, though. One dangerous turn for a car. There's no cars. It's okay. My music stopped. Oh no, it's just really quiet. Oh. Dang, I should upgrade one of these ones for those people. We're kind of hurting for funds. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and place the mayor's house. Then we'll worry about placing that family in a minute. feel like you would be set back a little. Come on, build faster! Oh no, is it not working? Amazing, your house looks great. I'm sure the first requests will start coming in soon. We're all thrilled to have such an involved mayor in town. Don't worry if it takes a while to address any of our requests. We're patient townsfolk. Okay. Good. Let's try, let me try turning it off and on again. Oh, it says not connected. It must have disconnected. I don't think you're here yet, Muda. We started a new city, so... Yeah, you're not in town yet, probably. Oh no, there you are. Now you're there. You're a street vendor and you're married. Oh, now you're a child. Now you're a kid. Now you're over here. Alright. I'm gonna decorate the mayor's house real quick. Flowers on all the windows. Street vendor at a fruit stall. Ew, fruit. Fruit's good. What do you mean, ew, fruit? Who doesn't like fruit? Super shine, wait a minute. Now you're a researcher. W, I smart. I don't want to waste my time. Why don't people fall? No, why is it adding? The fence thing doesn't work. I can never move the fence. There we go. Oh, it adds a thing. I don't want to add one. I just wanted to move it. I want to move this corner. There we go. Crazy. The worst. Okay, oh, I didn't mean to click the letter. Hello, Mayor. When I moved here, I didn't realize I'd have to survive without my favorite tailor.
Oh.
I fear I'm getting desperately out of fashion. I should be a dear and build a clothing boutique in our little town. Make sure they sell red clothes, dear. I hear it's the latest trend in the big city. Okay. I'll get to you in a second. That's cute. Maybe I'll move this one up here. Let's do some trees. The skinny ones. Now I'll just put a couple of bushes. Okay, we'll add some flower bushes when we get some. And... nice and lit up. Alright! Ooh! Alright, I need to upgrade a house by the water. And move these people in here. And then the clothing shop. I'm gonna put it right here. Clothing store colors. I'll also get the shoemaker while we're in here. Might as well. So we don't have any money to place either of them. That's right, we can prep the spot we're gonna put it in. Another person wants to be by the water. I don't have money! It's weird that all of a sudden they have an issue with connection when they didn't have one a minute ago. I think the warehouse upgrade's not until the next one. Maybe instead of over here, I'll put stuff over here. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it over here. As soon as I have the money. Gotta have money first! I'll try. I might change this corner right here a little. How much is it again? $255. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. That looks better. Ooh, I have money now. Okay. I'm gonna put you here. What was this again? Clothing store. Here we go. Thank you. I hope you have a good rest of your day too. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate it. Right, and then no houses available. Well, poop. Need money to upgrade again. I'm gonna upgrade some more houses. I actually move this back a little. I'm gonna draw a little path. Oh, wait to get some money. I could decorate this, I guess. Nobody else as good as you. Cute. All right. this house. Put you here. Maybe we won't. I'll put you here. I'll put you in one of these as soon as I can upgrade it. Oh, and I need to change the color to red. She'll give us some money. 1,000 thanks, Mayor. Even those big city folk would be envious of my beautiful garments. You look stunning. My Mayor, aren't you handing out the compliments today? Oh, yeah. Bet your ass I am. Alright. Let's unlock the bigger warehouse. And I guess the Halloween decorations. Why not? Alright. I'm gonna... I guess I'll do another request while I wait for money.
Oh.
Sob, yesterday I sat down on a bench and got a splinter in my leg. It hurt really bad. Perhaps our town is growing so much. Some of the old wooden benches are wearing down with use. It's even making our children cry. I'm not crying. You're crying. It would be a good idea to replace 5 wooden benches with these new steel benches. Okay. I will replace these ones. There's 3. And I'll replace this one I just put down. Sorry, lady. I can't remove it because she's sitting on it. Get out of the way! You're in my winch! I wish I could pick them up and move them. That would be cute. Just be like, excuse me. You're sad about your home decoration? Oh, good, you're getting out of the way. I want to put a bench here. Nicely done, putting up those steel benches. That'll prevent other children from, definitely not getting hurt to the point of crying. You probably never had a splinter in your leg. Okay. Whatever you say, you little twerp. Alright. Now I can upgrade this house. And this house. And move you guys in. We have another request.
Oh no.
Last night I was playing in the woods and I saw an old knight's ghost.
Oh no, Navi.
He was moaning and dragging his sword through the dirt. I swear he did. Please make the ghost go away before he scares everyone. Oh. Alright, so we have to put a graveyard essentially somewhere. Maybe over here. I just realized I didn't leave much room here to upgrade this to a bigger warehouse later. Because I think it takes a slightly bigger footprint. It might fit in there though. We'll see. We'll see. Alright. Let's do this quest real quick. I'm gonna put up a fence first. Good time. And then, do I have an arch thingy? Do I have those yet? Ooh. We do have an arch. I probably have to move these. For a good time. Zero. Alright. Now we'll place our dead trees. Will this count? It does, even though it's like right on the edge. Oh, it's not randomizing. It wasn't randomizing, so I want to... Yeah, perfect. Okay. And then we need gravestones. And then we need the flower. I'm gonna do a couple of them with a flower though. And then lighting. Now let's get a little bit of dirt paint. Looks more like graveyardy. And we could use this one to make it look like the leaves fell off the trees. Kind of all over the ground now. Cute.
Uh-huh.
If you don't night chase away, I can start adventuring in the woods again.
Wow,
Goes to big home. Don't stray far from the lit path now. Ooh, that was a lot of money. How's that little girl have so much money? Another request. Every tree in the area looks the same. They're all leafy. How about we plant some pine trees to spruce up our town? There are too many spruces, you think? No, too many oaks. We need pines. I have some saplings and much lying around. And mulch. Mayor, could you plant 10 pine trees? Okay. I have to pick an area to plant them. Around here. Drink from my cup. What you really want? Alright, we did it! That was quick. Quick and easy. Aren't they just the loveliest? So much more foresty here now. Decidiously so. That little girl had 450 bucks and those people only had 100? Crazy. Tastier meats. Okay. We have some people that need to move in. No houses available. You're gonna be one of those far away from neighbors people. Put a house over here. They're grumpy town folk, kinda. I'm gonna put them over here. I might be too far away from everybody, though. I don't know if food and stuff will reach over here. Yeah, nothing reaches them up here, though. So... Could continue this road and see where it takes us. We could put them over. We could leave some space here and put them over here. That might be better, actually. Let's do that. And then... -5. You're so far away. Okay. If I put you on the other side. Anyway. How about now? Alright, there you go. Geez, so picky. I don't know why I'm still waiting. Give me a little bench. And how about a bush? There you go. Alright. And then I got you people. You people! Let's keep going along here. Or maybe I should just upgrade more. Maybe I'll just do some more upgrading. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, I have another request. Let's do that real quick. Man, they're just one right after the other. I don't want to play hide and seek. Don't you like it anymore? Of course I do, but there's no pretty flowers. I want to hide in bushes with flowers. What does that have to do with hide and seek? I just wanna. She just wanna. Maybe here on the lake. That was so random. Hide and seek smells great now with all these flower bushes. I want to play! I still don't know what this has to do with hide and seek. Some people simply like flowers. Go on and play, little ones. Thanks. Confirm. Alright, we have more people wanting to move in. Many unemployed residents in your town consider giving more people working. Okay. I will. Getting there. Alright, what else we got going on in the research menu? The butcher. We unlocked the butcher. We unlocked park decorations. And the shoemaker. Okay. So let's put the shoemaker and the butcher over here too. a beautiful wedding. Alright, and then I'm gonna paint my stone. Goddamn door, no. Alright. Yeah, it's time to upgrade to the bigger warehouse. Okay. We'll just move these trees for now. And I probably have to break down the fence. Oh, it doesn't fit. We're gonna have to scooch everybody down. What is happening? Closing the goddamn door now. These trees in the middle gotta go, because they're gonna be in the way. Deleting all the bushes I just planted, because they're in the way. Okay. Now, move these. Like that, and then we can grab our warehouse. And now it's gonna fit. All right. Alright, down to 1 in our dirt path. Reconnect everybody up here. Excellent. Why does that look weird? Baby, we're just trying too hard. Alright, and then I'm gonna take these trees I moved, and we'll put them over here. To medium trees. Fill it in a little more. Might as well embrace it. Alright. These guys are almost back to where they were. We just have to put down some lighting. There we go. And then... put this under here. Excellent. Can I give you guys like a little tree or something? You guys want a little tree? Can I do that? No? You guys can have some hanging on here. Some of them you can put stuff on the floor. There we go. Near food. Well, I've already upgraded all of those. We could keep going this way. Gonna take my horse to this old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. Neighborhood with many folk. Oh, that's easy. I'll just upgrade one of these. Actually, this one's near food. There we go. That easy. Tell me nothing. Alright, I need a fence. Put a couple of benches and stuff back here, I guess. Let's put a well back here. No. It actually doesn't even fit. Just put some benches back here if it'll let me. Alright, and then you guys need some flowers or something. There you can have those ones. We'll give you the sorted colors. And then we can do some little lighting. I don't know where the door for the clothing shop is. Oh, I guess it's under there. I'll give you a little light right here and right here. Can I put a chair up here? Oh my god, I can. Cute. I just got a suspicious text message. Alright. More labor here. More labor here. We need more housing. I think I'm just gonna keep upgrading for now. Because why not? I'm already feeling better about this. This feels better. Yes, yes. Much better. Mm-mm. It's not letting me. Alright. I'm trying to figure out where I want to expand, how I want to keep going around this lake. I'm kind of saving up here for something else. Whoa. We're almost done here, and then we just have to worry about population. So, maybe I'll continue this road. Oh no, I forgot to change it. Dang it. To this tool. Then we'll continue houses around the road this way, I guess. Whoa. I'm going to clone. It is a lot more expensive to do it this way. $356. Because counting the upgrade and the decorations. Move you in there. Move you in there. Move you in there. I want to do some trees. Boom. It's not necessarily that it was bad, I just wasn't happy with it. Because it was kind of messy. And, like, I want to be more organized about where we put, like, food stalls and, you know, the commercial uses and stuff. So it makes more sense. Because it was feeling really unorganized, and I didn't really like that feeling. So I really wanted to start over with the, like, new knowledge that I had of the game now. So I can build something a little bit more meaningful, I guess. Let's light this up a bit more. And I think I'm going to change this road too. So I'm going to do 2.5. So 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. So I'm going to do 6. And then we take the eraser and we go down to 1. Yeah. Oh no! I messed up though. Let's try that again. Like that. Clang, clang. Because then I want to... Alright. We can upgrade again, which is great. Let's see if I can fit a couple more houses in here. You want to live lakeside, don't you? Another one. Let's put one of these ones. Alright, and then I'll make it a little. You don't have nearly enough stuff on your house. Let's fix it. Some flowers. Everybody likes flowers. And some trees. And then we gotta do some lighting. Takes off her dress, now letting me go. Okay, and then let me make a crossing here. Like that. Then we can take some trees. Maybe skinny ones. Maybe those are too big. I should use medium trees. And some bushes. And then let's paint a different color grass. We have like a little avenue that'll cut through here, and that'll be super cute! Near clothing. We're like a regular comfortable house. There you go. It's not really near clothing. Near clothing. All those houses are kind of full. What if we put the optician on this side? I don't know if it'll really fit. Or if it'll really reach over there, but... maybe it'll make it a little better? Oh, I gotta put a road in. My bad! One! I think I was using the plaza. other thing I do is I could move somebody out of this house. You're not, you know, seem to be getting food shops nearby. Okay. So I can move this family into here. And then I could put you in here. What about this house? Can move you into here. And move you into here. Perfect! Yeah, wakes. Wait, it makes a little garland? Why did I know I could do that? What the heck? Wait. What about the lighting? Okay, so the lighting doesn't make lighting garland. Okay, just checking. It made garland though. That's so cute. I didn't know I could do that. Totes adorbs. This warehouse is placed very far away from the station and or commerce building. No, it's not. No, it's not, game. You lie. Why you lie, game? Alright, it says we can upgrade again. Let me just make sure there's a fountain. I think we placed all the important stuff out of here. Probably gonna end up putting a park in here, I think. And then another one along the lake. Alright, does this fountain fit in here? I don't think it does. No, it's way too big. That would have been cool, though. Alright, let's upgrade. We will build a plaza with that fountain eventually. Probably on the other side of the lake. Yay! We got bigger! Yay! Bigger train station! Yay! Woo! Now we have leisure. Feels like you bought a station of Monopoly, right? Alright, so now we have all the leisure stuff. The first things I unlock in here are research equipment and extra warehouse workers. Tiny symphony. But I think I'm gonna call it for today. We did a lot already. These don't have to stay here. I actually really hate them there. It doesn't look cute. So put them back here along the houses. Oh, yeah. Alright. This little avenue right here will be really cute too to keep going along this way. We'll probably have it go this way and then turn this way. Oh, shoop, shoop. I think that'd be cute. I'm kind of liking this fun, like, grid-looking layout, too. Oh, I need to get a screenshot. That's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. Should we go from this way or this way? Stop me now. I'm such a... I'm gonna go from this way. Ah! Scared me! I'm busy thinking really hard. Damn it. It was you! I can see who did it! Oh my god, it scared the shit out of me when you did that. Okay. I was like so focused on taking a picture. So you're just passing the blame? No, that's not how that works. Don't stop me. Don't stop me. Don't stop me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Dad awake. Alright. Oh, alright, chat. We gotta find someone to raid. I'm gonna find some lunch. I'm hungry. Speed of light, supersonic melody. Buy pizza? I don't have any money. I have pizza rolls in the freezer though. Maybe I'll have some of those. You want pizza? I love pizza. I could eat pizza every day. When you get time. Stop at home. I get fat if I eat it too much. Not necessarily. Furnace streaming? $12-hour stream anniversary? Oh man. Alright, we gotta go say hi to Fern. We're raiding Fern! Alright, we're gonna raid Fern. If you're a subby, you're gonna use the first raid call. Stream Elements isn't a subby, so it doesn't show up. If you're not a subby, you're gonna use the Nemo Pops. Alright, we're gonna go say hi to Fern. She's doing a 12-hour stream anniversary. That's fun. Very cool. So go say hi. If you're not in the Discord, make sure you join the Discord so you can keep up with all my schedule changes, fun events we're doing, community involvement and things and all that good fun stuff like that there. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. See you later. Goodbye. Get the fuck out. Goodbye.